What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mike Robinson. It's another episode of Let's Take a Walk. Um, Running a little bit behind today. I apologize for that. Totally my fault. But I hope everybody had an awesome week. I had an awesome week, and as usual, it just kind of flew by for me. You blink, you wake up, and it was Monday. You thought it was Monday, like feels like yesterday was just Monday, and now today is Friday. It's crazy. But anyway, we have another great episode for you. I have an awesome artist, entrepreneur, businesswoman. Her name is Miss Marjane. She is a Christian artist at the highest degree. We're gonna sit down.
I'm trying to get there now. I'm trying to get there.
Okay, so we gonna sit down and we're gonna chat with her about her movement and everything she has going on. For those of you who may not be familiar with Miss Marjane, I'm gonna give her the floor to kind of reintroduce herself and give a little background on her movement and everything that she has going on. It's up to you. Go ahead.
Hello, everybody. I am coming to you all live from a women's conference. I had to minister in song here, and then I sat in there. It's phenomenal so far. And so I had to come into the green room so I can say hello to y'all, good people. Hello, everybody. My name
Awesome.
is Marjane. If you have never heard of me, I am a recording artist from South Central California. All right, South Central LA. All right, born and raised. I now live in Atlanta. I've been here for about 10 years. And I have been doing music for a very long time, since 2005. What I want y'all to do, I need y'all to do this, okay? This is my little disclaimer. I need y'all to follow me on Instagram, okay? I'm already at my limit on Facebook. I need y'all. I'm gonna deal with this now, Mike. Okay, y'all
Okay.
follow me at Marjane. All right. I do have an accent in my name, guys, but don't put it there. You won't find me. Just put Marjane music, all right, on Instagram. I need y'all to follow me, okay? Because I done got hooked to these reels that they be doing on Instagram now, and folks loving my reels. Okay, y'all. So if y'all want to see my reels, y'all need to follow me on Instagram, okay? But yeah, so I am a recording artist. Oh my gosh, I love doing music. I love everything pertaining to the arts and music, and I my genre of music, if y'all want to know, is gospel. I do inspiration. I actually started in R&B. So a lot of people who may not be familiar with me is not aware of that, but I did start there. But God had another call on my life, so here I am doing inspirational and gospel music. And so I want you all to check out my current single, "I Choose You," which we released in late
I actually start
2019.
life, so here I am.
In all of 2020, we were in this darn pandemic, but God was still moving, and the song did exceptionally well on the gospel charts and stuff like that. So I need you guys to go. You can find the official videos and all that stuff on YouTube. Again, follow me at Marjane Music on IG, on Facebook, and my official website is also Marjane Music as well.
Awesome. You said a mouthful there. We can end the interview right now. You said it all. You took answered all the questions, everything. Hey, y'all have a good night. Y'all
I've
have a
been
good
doing this a
weekend. All right.
long time, Mike, as you can tell, right?
Yes. I'm like, man, you took my job. Like, for real? That's what you're gonna do? That's how you do me? Okay. Nah. You definitely said a mouthful. And 2005, you said, right?
2005.
Wow. So
Long
you
time.
started singing R&B in 2005?
I started actually doing R&B prior to 2005. And
Hmm.
what I did, I rededicated my life back to Christ. That's when I actually started
So
doing
you started
inspirational music
Mhm.
and gospel music. And that's been over 20 something years. And so in 2005 is when I released my first uh, CD titled Keys to My Heart. And I kept writing, and then a second CD was birthed titled Won't Let Go. Then I had a third CD titled Grateful, and I've released a couple of singles, and my last single was The I Choose You. And man, it when I tell you, it's been really a blessing, just to see how God moves in the music that I do and the people that I bless no matter what the arena is. I used to always be not shy per se to do my music, my style of music, but I didn't know if the church per se would receive it, because
Mm,
I do not, my music is really not a traditional sound.
mhm.
It's very urban and R&B ish, but that's because that's what I grew up listening to in my household with my parents, and and all that, and because I started in R&B as well. But God has gifted me to minister in song, and that's the way He gives it to me. So I stay in my lane, but I love to worship and praise God in any facet, in any form. And that's what I do today.
Awesome. So you said you came from South Central California?
Yeah.
Tell me, what's the gospel music climate like in South Central?
Well, it was good. Well, at back home in California, that's home base for me. So
Hmm.
when I was there and I was just getting started in music, and then of course years went by and I had built up fan bases and have traveled all over Southern California doing my music. I mean, being an independent artist is really, it can be challenging sometimes, but I made it work. I'm always on the grind doing something with my music, something pertaining to something that has to do with Marjane music. And so the gospel scene is just what it is. I mean, you got a whole lot of, like here in Atlanta, since I've been here, there's so many gifted singers, and I appreciate all of them, especially the ones that I get to meet when I'm doing these different events and stuff like that. So the gospel scene in California, you can get your hands in a whole lot of stuff. And it's a blessing because it opens doors for other people to be introduced to your ministry and what you do. So,
Hmm.
I've done events for TV. I've done all kinds of stuff, studio production for other artists. I've been doing a whole lot of things over the years, and I really am grateful for all of the doors that have been opened so far.
Wow. Yeah, I'm thinking because you South Central, you hear the stories and
Yeah,
you
I'm,
kind of
I'm gonna just I'm
form.
gonna just say it like this. I have been delivered. Okay, I know
Okay.
what it means to be from South Central LA. And if you want it on and popping, I can give you on and popping. But I've been delivered. I haven't forgotten. I'm gonna just say that I haven't forgotten. Okay.
Okay. So was there a series of moments or was there a definitive moment that brought you to the decision of just concentrating on inspirational slash Christian music?
Well, yeah, because I think we've all come to a place in our life where we can't depend on anything but God. Okay.
Hmm.
So when we
Hmm.
get that bump in the road, when we get that roadblock, I was just telling the ladies out here at the Excel conference that I'm at now that, no matter how challenging it gets, we have to remain steadfast in knowing that God is going to do what He said He's going to do on our behalf. And
Right.
so when these things come, they come to grow us. All right. And so when they come, we have to be able to learn from it, grow from it, and see what God wants to do through it. And that's exactly what He's going to do. And so for me, I had grew up in the church. I stepped away from the church for a long time.
Hmm.
And not because anything bad had happened. It was just Marjane was trying to find her own way. And so navigating through life and going through things and being exposed to things, and I was just at that point to where I'm like, okay, God, I need you. I knew that I needed God in
Hmm.
my life, because I can't make it. I can't navigate this life without Him, period. Nobody can. They may think they
Hmm.
can, but they can't. And so
Right.
that's
Right.
when I made that decision to rededicate my life back to Christ. And I'm telling you, it's just been awesome since. Not saying that everything has been perfect, but I know how to navigate when those roadblocks come. I know how to deal with them now and
Hmm.
navigate through them easily now because I have God on my side.
Wow. Wow. So you were saying earlier about your influences, like
Hmm.
you were influenced by the music that was played in your home.
Yeah.
So who influences you now?
Man, I have you know what? I still have those same musical those music artists that have influenced me from back in the day. So like your Whitney Houston's. Now I'm telling my age, okay? So y'all don't be talking about me, and if y'all don't know who these singers are, y'all need to look them up because they be singing, okay? So
Yeah.
I'm going back in time. Now I don't know, Mike, if you're in the same age group as me,
Yeah.
but all right, I'm just saying I got a 25-year-old. Okay, there you go.
Okay.
So there you go, okay?
Me too.
All right. So back in the day, I used to love, and I still love, your Whitney Houston's, your Angela Winbush, your Anita Bakers,
Hmm.
all those old school people that I grew up with. And they actually helped me shape my vocal ability now. Along, of course, God has gifted me. My mom says I've been singing since I was 2 years old. And I've never had singing lessons, never, not saying that I will never partake in it, but I've never had to do that. But
Hmm.
I've been singing a long time, and I know that it's nothing but God. It's a gift. And so I use those influences, your Yolanda Adams, your Kelly Prices, all those folks that sang, those are
Hmm.
my influences today. And so, and there's so many other gifted artists, again, as I mentioned earlier in this interview, that I have come across. And I mean, I am like a fanatic for their music, man. Like literally, like, and I'll play. I'm so bad with it because I can play stuff over and over and over again. Just
Right.
like I would do my own music, I'm bad with it with other people's music too. And but that just because they have touched something, that deep down thing within me. And so that's why, and I can relate to it, and that's why I'm able to, listen to it like that.
Okay. So what prompted the move from California to Georgia? I mean, because I
I
mean,
know it's
you're
quite a
you're
difference.
already you're kind of already there. You know what I
I
mean?
know
And
it's a difference. At that particular time, I was going through a divorce, and so I wanted to get away from California.
Mhm,
I had been born and raised there, family there, all that good stuff. But I wanted to get away and just kind of have a clean slate and start over.
mhm,
And I chose Georgia. I have a best friend who is here. I knew some other people that were here,
mhm.
and I chose Georgia, and I actually love Georgia actually. So I had to get used to the Southern way.
Right.
Okay, our eating patterns sort of are different.
Okay.
All that stuff. I'm not a soul
Whatever that
food.
means.
Yeah, because I'm not. I don't eat soul food every day. I don't have to have
Ah,
barbecue every day. I don't want
right,
no sweet tea. I'm cool with a
right.
sandwich, some chips, and some water. Or I'm cool with a
Absolutely.
salad or some wraps or something. That's that Cali life. We don't
Right,
have to eat all that stuff. And
right.
so I had to get used to that when I moved here. I had to get used to how people talk. The
Mhm,
culture is just very different. But for the most part, I love it here. Now I go home and I visit. When I visit, I'm ready to come back.
right.
So I can go for
Wow.
5 days back home to Cali, but I'm ready to come back to Georgia after that 5 days. I had enough. Because remember, I was born and raised there. So I need
Right,
to make sure that
right,
I get back to home base. All right.
right. Absolutely. So, did you have to adjust your music once you moved to Georgia? Did you find yourself adjusting?
I
Yeah.
no, no, I didn't have to adjust my music per se. My music is just what it is. I mean, God
Hmm.
gives it to me, and I've worked with the same producer over the years, and so my style of music and what I do is just who Marjane is. That is my
Hmm.
brand, and
Hmm.
so wherever I go, I just try to represent God and Marjane the best way that I can, because you definitely want to make sure that because what I do, I want to represent God in everything that I do. And it doesn't matter the style that I do it. We get so caught up in um, the old way. When you have, because God is multifaceted. I have always
Right.
said this. Nobody is going to be the same. So you're gonna have singers that are like your Tasha Cobbs, your um, who else? Um, Todd Delaney's, all those folks that do the praise and worship. But then you also have people like me,
Hmm.
Kiara Shear, Jay
Hmm.
Moss, all those people that fall in
Right.
that particular our music may be different, but it's still the same message. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So I think with some churches, they have to get out of that way of not wanting to accept or even invite other gifts to the house, because you get stuck there and you can't reach nobody.
Right.
So you got to remember the generations that we're living in now, you have to reach them some kind of way. And
Hmm.
this generation that we're in now may not necessarily be reached by listening to traditional music.
Got you. Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So you have your hip hop gospel, you have all that stuff, but that met like Lecrae, I swear by Lecrae. Okay? He and his crew are so dope, but
Yeah.
they have an audience that they reach that some traditional artists will never be able to reach.
Hmm.
Never.
Absolutely.
And so that's why it's important to understand that when God created us, he created us to be multifaceted. He's not the same.
Right.
He's not. And
Right.
so every gift should be appreciated. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Every single gift, no matter what it is, should be appreciated, especially if it's giving glory to God.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, as an independent artist, right? You move around, and a lot of the things that you do is pretty much on your own. So tell me on both sides, what what traits, personality wise, I want to ask this question correctly. What personality traits did you already possess and that you felt were strong? Did you feel like you had to employ most? And on the flip side of that, what was a personality trait that you had to um, strengthen during the process?
Because I'm an independent artist, see, I've learned over the years to do. I can drive this ship by myself
Hmm.
and be cool. But
Hmm.
I've reached a point in my career now where I know that I can't wear the hats all the time. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So therefore I need to appoint people to do certain things like your PR and your radio servicing, your management, your all that stuff, getting your
Hmm.
clothes together, having your own stylist and all that. I need help with that. I can't do
Hmm.
anything. Marjane has to have focus on being an artist. Now, this is the thing. I have sat down on many occasions in many meetings with people who have wanted to sign me to their label or whatever
Hmm.
the case may be. But if my spirit say no, it's a no. I don't
Hmm.
jump on everything just because I'm an independent artist. Some artists do that because they're hungry and they want that opportunity. I don't do that. I follow the leading of the Lord, and if He say yes and amen, then I'm going
Hmm.
that way. But I think for me, God is still working on me as far as like attitude. Because I look what I say earlier. I said I ain't
Yeah,
forgot. All
yeah,
right.
but
I've
you've
been
been
delivered, but
delivered.
I ain't forgot. All right.
Right.
So therefore, when I'm doing business dealings and stuff like that, and people, because you've got people who are really out there to do harm to people, like it can really mess up your career. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
If you don't make
Hmm.
the right decisions. So there's a couple of times where I have had to put people in their place, and I try to do it the best way that I could, you know, and there you go. But I have to do that. And I have to make people understand no, you can't take advantage of me as an
Yeah.
artist because I'm independent. You're not going to do that.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so, as far as my personality and stuff like that, I'm very bubbly and stuff. But when you make me mad, you make me mad. You better move to
Hmm.
your right or left. That's all I can say. Get out my way, because I'm not playing.
Right.
Okay. I
Right.
love the Lord, but I don't play when it comes to my music, my career, my love for Christ and all these things, because people can test your patience real
Right.
bad.
Right.
And so I try my best to react and respond in love first. All right. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, but you keep pushing. All right. You keep pushing. Now I'm gonna have to repent later. Let's just say that.
Okay. Yeah, because I often wonder about that, particularly when, like I said, we talk about independent artists. So, because like for instance, with me, right? I have always been kind of an introvert, kind of shy, like,
Uh-huh.
but as I've gone about in my process, because I do music too. Well, I
Uh-huh.
did music at a time.
Uh-huh.
I actually had to. I wasn't a good. I'm articulate, but I didn't. I struggled with talking to people as far as like
Okay.
networking and stuff like that. So that was a
Right.
that was a personality trait that I had to kind of strengthen. But then on the flip side of that, I'm a very easygoing, laid
Mm-hmm.
back person.
Mm-hmm.
So and I'm patient. So that was something that was very strong that kind of helped me in my process. So
Okay.
it's like you have that dual thing, but
Yeah.
you don't seem to have that issue at
I
all. Like you
don't.
just
I again, I have, because I have been doing this for so long, Mike.
Mhm.
I'm a people person anyway.
Right.
I love people. I love to
Mhm.
talk, as you can see. So you forget a line, don't worry, I'll take over for you because I can talk. I'll talk through this whole thing.
you done
I
already
just
answered all
because
my questions in the
because
first
that's just
intro
my person.
anyway.
Right. That's just my personality. So I've never
Right.
had a problem, relaying to people and talking on radio and doing TV stuff. I've never had an issue with that.
Hmm.
And I think it's because my personality, I really am bubbly. I love to joke around. I love to, just make people be, feel good and be
Right.
happy, and let them feel the love of Christ that's in me. That's just my personality. And
Right.
so, yeah, yeah.
So, tell me, since you've been doing this music, who are you most surprised to find out was aware of you? Like, who are you most surprised to find out was a fan of yours, or at the very least aware of your music or recognized you? Who are you most surprised to find out did that?
Um, that's famous, you mean? Or
Yeah,
just
maybe.
anybody?
Yeah, or whoever. But like if whoever.
I mean, anybody that comes across, Marjane music, it doesn't matter. They can be, I don't care. You could you could be staying in your mama basement or whatever. I don't care. As long as my music comes in your ears and it blesses your soul, that's what it does for me. It doesn't matter. I have met so many people over the years, whether they were, just your regular person on the street that you
Mhm.
may see in the grocery store. I've
Right.
opened up for many, many major artists, and a lot of people don't know that, but I have.
Mhm.
And so, people, when they hear my music and they receive it, that's what makes me proud. It makes me, that tells me, okay, I've done what God has asked me to do. And so when I'm recording, I don't take that lightly. I don't
Mhm.
record everything. I don't be on everybody's track. I just don't do that. It
Right.
has to be a yes and amen in my spirit before I touch it. And if it's
Mhm.
not, I'm not doing it. And
Gotcha.
so, and I've been like that from day one. And so, because I want to be able to feel that in my spirit too, because I know if I'm recording it and I feel it in my spirit, that means that other people that may hear it is going to feel it as well. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So, have you had any like famous people come up and say, "Hey, you're Marjane. I know I choose
um
you." You know what I'm saying? Have you?
Not famous people per se, but I have seen, like, I can go to another state or city and
Mhm.
somebody be like, "Yo, I saw you on such and such and such and such. I heard you on such and such and such and such." So yeah,
Mhm.
and I get that a lot. And it's a blessing because, again, as an independent artist, you want to get your name out there, and you want people to remember your music and who you are as an artist. So that's important too. So it's a lot of aspects that goes in this whole thing of being an independent artist. But man, if you're a grinder like me, because I'll be grinding and I don't feel no shame about it. I do what I gotta do, and there you go. And
Hmm.
so, and God has opened so many doors for me in this course of, what, 15 years that I've been doing this. And so it's really a blessing. And I'm hoping to do some collaborations with some other artists soon. And yeah, and so I'm excited because God is just, I mean, he's just really, really good to me. And I'm really, really excited about the new opportunities that he's going to give me too. I can hear you.
You brought up a point that I wanted to kind of touch on, collaboration.
Mhm.
Um, so you are open to collaborating with other artists and doing some things like that.
I am.
Um,
A lot of
did you?
people don't know that I do background vocals in studio productions and stuff like that for a whole lot of artists. When
Wow.
people go and to my Marjane Music website and they see all of the things that I have done, they're like, God, dog, like you've done this and you opened for this and you did background vocals for this and this. I have, and that's just from again being on the grind and being introduced to certain people,
Hmm.
and those doors have opened other doors and those doors open other doors. So that's how it's been through the course of this 15-year span that I have been doing music. And so again, when people submit, because people submit music to me all the time and say, hey, can you write a hook for this, or can you do I'm a true soprano, can you do a soprano part on this song or whatever. So usually I'll review it, and again, like I mentioned, if my spirit ain't feeling it, I ain't doing it. And then what I'll try to do is just try to, refer you to somebody else that may be able to take the project on. But, I definitely, because again, what I do represents Marjane.
Right.
And I have to remember that. So whoever I do music for, wherever avenue that I may go, I have to represent not only God well, but myself as an artist too.
Do you um have you ever found it a challenge going through your process and everything that you do? Um, have you ever found a period during a period of time in your career where you felt like you were chasing a sound and you were like, "Oh my
No,
gosh, what am I doing? Let me
no, I
go back to
no.
my."
Mm-mm. I've never reached that point. And
Mhm.
again, I think that's because when I put that pen to the paper and I start getting this melody in my mind,
Mhm.
if I can't let go of that melody, then I know that
Mhm.
that's what God wants me to do at that particular
Mhm.
time. And however it comes out is however it comes out. And oftentimes, you know, it's always good. And so the only thing that I've had to do, was my producer, like he'll send me some tracks and stuff, because I always send him raw vocals first. Then
Right.
he'll send me the tracks and say, hey, check this out. There's only probably been a handful of times, I can probably count on one hand, where I said, no, that ain't it. Going back to the drawing board, because that ain't it. But when he sends it to me, when he sends it, and then we get in there and do we have to do, when I get to, because I get excited, because I get this leap in my spirit. That's how I know it's it. And so I'll say, Marvin, that's it, and I get all excited. And yeah, so again, I think it's a blessing um that God has given me that particular gift. I have not hit that bump yet, but that again, being that urban contemporary, that's my vein, and I really, really love it. So I have, and I have all kinds of, if you've been following me for some time, I got some worship stuff, I got some upbeat stuff, I got some, ride in your car along. Well, I ain't at home in California, but you can ride on the coast listening to my music, but so it just depends. But I have a plethora of music, and so I'm looking forward to this new season and some new things that's coming up too. So I'm excited about that too.
Wow. we're on Let's Take a Walk, and I have Miss Marjane on, and we're discussing her her music and her ministry and all the things that kind of go into her soup. All the potatoes and the salt and the
Yep.
pepper and all the
And
things that
carrots
and the carrots, yeah, and
and the celery.
all that good stuff. You making me hungry. Um, I usually when I set up a interview with a guest, I kind of try to like bury myself or immerse myself in that person or persons just to kind of
Mhm.
get a sense of who they are and like what they do and why they do what they do.
Right.
Um, I listened to I Choose You, and I listened to some of the other things that yes, some of the other YouTube content that you had and
Mhm.
all that. And I realized, just like what you were saying, that you are very you seem to be very versatile. You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean?
Mhm.
Your message is consistent, but
Yeah.
the expression,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
How do you keep it? How do you keep? How do you stay so diverse? You know what I'm saying? Do you ever find yourself saying, you know what? You're right, and then you're like, dang, I said that on the last song. I can't say that on this song.
No, and that's why I say no. I'm telling you, that's how I know it's a gift. All right.
Hmm.
If I can release 3 records and 2 singles and not one of the songs sound alike, and I have not repeated a word from any other song. I mean, that is a gift. And mind you, I did not write inspirational or gospel music until I rededicated my life back to Christ. I was always
Hmm.
writing R&B because that's where I started. And so when I rededicated my life, that was a change that God immediately did in me.
Hmm.
And so, and I began to, when I would write it, it would just come out. And I'm like, oh my God, like I was singing this stuff and singing these melodies and these words. And I'm like, whoa, you know what I mean? And so
Absolutely.
that's how I know that it is truly a gift. It really is. And so I don't have a gift of like doing the musical part like producers do when they, behind the scenes type of stuff. Now I can hear melodies all day long in my mind.
Hmm.
So if I'm in the studio with someone or my producer, and I can, all I could do is just sing what I hear, right? So I
Hmm.
would always mess with my producer and I say, Marvin, look, I need you to play this, and I'll sing it because I
Right.
can't play an instrument. So
Right.
I'll sing it for him, and then he'll go ahead and play it on the instrument. It's so funny, but I hear it. I just can't play it. God gave me
Yeah.
the gift of with my voice, but not necessarily playing instruments. And so maybe one day, he might let me get this little piano gift going. I might be another Alicia Keys.
Is hey, listen, hey, as long as you know what I found, I'm not a musician either. But I found over the years that as I gained an ear for melodies and things like that,
Right,
I can actually go to a keyboard and I can find exactly whatever key I can find it.
right,
You know what I mean? I can
right.
find it. I can find it. And I think that just comes from, just honing it.
Yeah.
You should try it. You should just sit at a keyboard and just poke.
Now
And I'm telling you,
my son has that gift actually. So my son sings a
absolutely.
little bit, but my son can hear something and go right to a keyboard like you and play it.
Mhm.
So
I'm
that's a
telling you,
gift.
I'm
That's
telling
a
you,
gift too.
I bet you can too. I bet you can too.
I've never tried it, but I
Now
might. Never
I'm not
know.
gonna say you're gonna get up there and be playing like you said, like Alicia Keys or everything. I'm saying that you can hear over the time, you can hear the melody in your head so
Yeah,
well that if you get on the keyboard and you just start poking the keys, you'll
right,
hear you'll hear the note that you're singing in. You'll be
right,
able to hear it.
right.
And that's really the meat of actually learning any instrument, having the
Right.
ear to hear it. You know
To
what I
hear,
mean? And so
yeah,
I bet
yeah,
you would surprise yourself. I
yeah. I
really
would
do.
surprise myself. and the whole world to know about it too.
You you brought up a good point though. You were saying you had mentioned something about production. Um, Speaking personally, when I first started out,
Hmm.
I could hear melodies, I could hear work, I could write words, but I was not a musician.
Right.
So I had to reach out to people, which was very hard to
Hmm.
do for tracks and stuff, different things like that. So that was very difficult. So I ended up having to get software, and I learned how to like produce my own tracks and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
over the year, and you get better and you get better. And I've realized that I enjoy producing. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? I didn't know that prior to, but
Yeah.
after needing it, it was a necessity for me. I realized that that was something that I like to do.
Right.
I found out that I like to, style. Like I like
Right.
to put the clothes together. I like the whole production of it. I like to promote events. I didn't know
Right.
these things.
Right.
So, um, I, so I posed that question to you. In your musical process, is there anything that you found out during your process, you found out that you enjoyed that you didn't know before that you were going to enjoy? Like I
I
said, like
didn't
with the.
know I didn't know that I would enjoy doing my background vocals so much. So
Hmm,
all those songs that you heard that you went back and
hmm,
listened to on YouTube, I
hmm,
have done every single background vocal on all of
hmm.
my music
Oh
since
wow. Okay.
2005.
Wow. Okay.
And excuse me, I did not think that I would enjoy doing background vocals that much, but I absolutely love it because it shows me the different dynamics of what I can do with my voice.
Hmm,
You see what I'm saying?
hmm,
So to be able to do that, do my background vocals and soprano, alto, tenor, and some jazz notes in between too, if my producer hears it.
hmm,
Um, I can sit and listen to it and I'm like, oh my God, like that is so dope. Like I can listen to my tracks with the background vocals by itself and be
hmm.
cool.
Right.
Not saying that the lead ain't good. The leads are phenomenal. But because I'm really
Right.
listening and I'm studying, okay, this is what I did.
Hmm,
This is how I want to perfect something if I hear something or whatever the case may be. And so I have I'm very particular when I do live events, especially when I use a band and singers, because I have a good ear. So I want to make sure that the singers are on point
hmm,
when they are doing my background vocals because I do them. So I want to
hmm,
make sure that it's done in excellence. You know what I mean?
hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So.
Y'all excuse me too, because I was almost crying in this women's conference that I was at because somebody was singing this beautiful song, and so my eyelash is probably gonna fall off, and I hope it don't fall off on his side. So y'all talk about me on my social media because I do be reading and responding too. So don't
Right.
play me, okay? I'm just saying.
So I was reading your bio, and it said that you were a semifinalist in on Sunday's Best.
I was.
So
So
tell me, what was
I
that
didn't
like?
yeah, it was fun. I didn't make and actually I've made the semifinals for Sunday's Best twice. But I
Mm,
didn't make the video portion. I just got to
okay.
the second round, went through the first little group, however they do that, and that was it. But it was a
Hmm,
blessing because I that opened doors for something else and I met some new people and all that kind of stuff. I've actually done American Idol too. The same year that
wow.
Fantasia won, I did
Hmm,
American Idol. And at that time, they said, well, this is what the judge says, that my voice was too churchy, is what he said. So it wasn't
wow.
the sound that he needed at that particular time,
Hmm,
but I did that too. I don't think I would ever do those type of competitions or anything again because again I've been doing this for so long and most of the people that do it, or really, they want to be signed, they want to do this and this and this. Now I'll
Hmm.
probably do it for exposure. Like that would be good
Hmm.
exposure, because sometimes making it to the first and second round of those shows, you build up your fan base, and you get to, those, it opens doors, because sometimes the winners, yeah, they take off and do what they need to do, but then runner ups, so the ones that auditioned and didn't make it, they get noticed.
Yeah, they usually are the ones that
Yeah,
do their thing. Like I
yeah,
really,
they do.
you
They
really.
do.
And one thing that I, not to cut you off, I'm sorry to cut you off, but one thing I realized when I watch like shows like that, like Sunday's Best and stuff like that,
Hmm.
when people get voted off or whatever, they
Hmm.
are so upset.
Yeah.
And I get it. I get it because you want it. You want it bad.
Right.
You want to do well or whatever.
Right.
But it's almost like but you don't realize, but I don't, sometimes I think that they don't realize that even though they didn't win,
Hmm.
they're winning
Right.
because you know how many people wanted to be on the screen but didn't
That's
make
it.
it, and
That's
how
it.
many people you're in front of now. You can put that on your resume, you can put that on your
Right.
social media, you can,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
you win, you
Yeah.
know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's always something, that you could capitalize on,
Right.
even if you don't win.
Right.
um we talked earlier about, um you started out doing R&B music.
Hmm.
This is the age old question. I talk to artists about this all the time, Christian artists. So where do you stand on R&B music right now?
Where do I stand?
Where do you stand on it? Could you?
Oh, I still listen to, see, this is the important thing that people need to remember as a believer. You
Hmm.
have to have balance.
Yeah.
Now, I love jazz. I love all forms of music. I
Hmm.
love jazz. I love R&B. I love neo soul. I love my gospel. That's how I start my day. I start my day in worship. I
Hmm.
start my day with prayer. I start my day with a word. This is every day. That's
Hmm.
without fail. But sometimes on a Wednesday, Friday, however I'm feeling, I may want to listen to some neo. I may want to listen to some Beyonce. I may want to listen. I listen to R&B, but I don't let what I listen to affect. Now, like some rap, I can't tolerate rap right now. The hip hop
Hmm.
stuff, I
Hmm.
can't tolerate it. My spirit can only take so much,
Right.
right? So, but I don't allow what I'm listening to deter who I am in Christ. So, like, if I'm listening to R&B music, I need to listen to the edited version where there ain't no cussing and all that kind of stuff. Because all these R&B songs are really great, but when you get to cussing and all that, you messing up the song to me. I don't need to
Hmm.
hear all that. So I always find the clean version, and I rock with the clean version on my
Hmm.
playlist.
Well, but what about you? What about you creatively? Where do you stand on R&B music? Where does Marjane music stand on R&B music? Could you
Could
could you
I
create an R&B album?
Oh, I can. Oh yeah, because remember, I started in R&B.
But
I
I'm
started,
saying, what are your
but would I do that
what?
now? Like, would I
Yes.
leave gospel to do R&B? No.
Well, not necessarily leave God, and that's what I mean. Like, not
But
necessarily leave gospel,
I
but.
would do inspirational music. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Things that can be crossover. There's a song called "Speak to Me" that Corinne
Mhm.
did. It's a
Mhm.
crossover song. Now, when
Mhm.
I listen to it, I'm like, You can kind of be confused because you don't know who she's talking about. Are you talking about your boo, or you talking about Jesus? Because you don't know. So you gotta, you gotta be kind of careful with that too. Um, but as far as writing inspirational, that could be like my "I Choose You." That is straight R&B. I don't care how
Mm.
you the track is anyway, and probably the style on how I sing it is R&B. But the
Mhm.
message, I make sure that what I am saying in that song gives the message about the Lord or about Christ or whatever the song is. So and yeah, and I just stand on that fact. But inspirational music, I can write it all day long. I can write it all
I
day long.
I this is how I feel. I mean, I'm a Christian artist as well, but I was telling someone not too long ago. I was like, if if I were to be led to do an R&B album, a love album, some type of
Mm-hmm.
love album,
Mm-hmm.
I think that as a Christian, we understand that God is love.
Right.
He is love.
Right.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only. You know what
He
I'm saying?
did. Yes.
And who better to express the authentic version or viewpoint of love than someone who's Christian?
Right.
That's how
And
I
that
see it.
see, but the form, but see, you have to be careful because I say this: we are really living with a real enemy. All right.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
who likes to come in and pervert things and do all of that. All right.
Right.
So if you choose to go that route, you need to make sure that what you do is going to be pleasing to the Lord as well. There
Right.
shouldn't be any mixed messaging on who you talking about. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? What is your song really portraying? Unless you're doing something for married couples or something like that, like TD Jake's album, but they
Hmm.
still, they still, Tamla Mann and her husband got a little,
Yeah.
they got
Yeah.
their little, and I was like, when I first heard it, I was like, huh? Like, yo,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. I
But
have that joint. My favorite song is "I Do." They have a song
yes,
called
and
"I Do."
it's
That's my
really
favorite song.
nice. But again, I believe that was created more towards those that are in that marriage relationship. That's what that is.
Mm.
And so it's a blessing to have those records and have those that type of music out there. But for us, I think it's a fine line. You just have to be careful about what you do and how you do it, because
Hmm.
again, you're still representing your brand and you're also representing the Christ that's in you. So
Hmm.
if nobody can be impacted by what you're doing or what you're saying, then you're not doing what you need to be doing. Okay?
Right.
So you got to be
Right.
careful with that.
Absolutely. And that,
Right.
like I said, this is just something that, I'm throwing out there because this is a conversation that, that artists have with each other.
Right.
And especially now we live in a what they call a cancel culture. You do one thing
Mhm.
that's seems outside of the box or controversial or provocative and
Right.
you are, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like I said, I would think that if I'm expressing love, but I absolutely agree with what you're saying. Like,
Right.
you should you should know exactly who you're speaking to and
Right.
be clear
And be
on
clear.
it. You know what I mean?
That's important because we still have so many millions of people who are lost and don't know Christ,
Hmm.
or they do know about Christ in some form, but they choose not to believe in him for whatever
Hmm.
reason. And so that's why we have to be mindful of that part. Oh,
Okay.
Mike, let me tell you this. My phone about to die.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I only had a couple more. Only had a couple of more questions for you
Okay.
anyway. Um,
So that means you got to invite me back again.
Absolutely.
All right.
It
Cause I
absolutely.
got some stuff coming up too. So yeah, you definitely got to have me back on again.
Absolutely. And what I've been doing lately is having panel interviews. So
Uh-huh.
what I would like to do is I would like to have you and a couple of artists that I've had on here prior to and just kind of pick you
Sure.
guys' brains together and just kind of
Yeah.
get your viewpoint.
Yeah.
But okay, real quick, last two questions. First question: what's the most common misconception? What have you found to be the most common misconception about people have about you?
About me,
Hmm.
probably that I'm standoffish and stuck up. but I'm not.
Mm,
And that it
okay.
bothers me when people think that, because like I mentioned earlier in this interview, I love people. I
Hmm.
am a people person. Now, do I walk into a room and scope and feel atmospheres and be looking at folks, watching their behaviors and feeling energy? Yeah, I do that,
Absolutely.
because you have a lot of people who, you know, say they for you, but they're not for you. So you have to be
Hmm.
mindful. Um, but for the most part, I really love people, as you can see, right? My
Absolutely.
personality is nowhere near what that's why it hurts my heart at times when people have that impression of me, because it's like I don't give that impression. I know that I'm not like that. I've never
Mm.
been like that. Even when I wasn't saved, I wasn't like that. So that could be something that is something that I have heard over the years. But no, when they get to know me, they're like, oh shoot, this Marjane.
Okay. Okay. Well, this is my last question. I'm gonna ask you this because I know your phone is compromised. Um, this is a question that I ask all my guests. Just take a second and think about it real quick.
Uh-huh.
What would have to happen in your life if it hasn't happened already for you to consider your life a success? What does success look like for Marjane specifically?
Wow, what does success looks like to me? Um, I think when I look back from 2005 to now, to we're in 2021, when I go back and I think about all the things that God has done for my music career alone, that's aside from family and all that kind of stuff. Aside
Hmm.
from that, I can really say that I have been truly blessed. I have been highly favored. And yeah, nobody could have done that but God. Nobody.
Right.
Especially again, as I mentioned, with doing this independent thing on my own, nobody could have done that but him. He strategically placed people where I needed to have them. He weed out the ones that don't need to be there, replace them with those that need to be there. And I
Hmm.
picked up nuggets along the way in this 15-year span. And so I look at myself and say, dang, now I'm not saying that I've reached that plateau. I have a long way to go as far as where I really want to be musically,
Hmm.
because I really want to travel the world and do all that kind of stuff and and do my ministry full time. That's what I want to do. And so I'm believing that God will open those doors. So that's why I'm always staying steadfast in what I'm doing. No matter the blocks in the road, I'm still going to be on the grind. So that way, because this is what God has gifted me to do.
Awesome. Okay, so if somebody wants to get in touch with you, you said you accept beats and writing and stuff like that, submissions and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what if I just want some advice? I'm an independent artist and I just want some advice from Miss
Just
Marjane.
DM
Miss
me.
Miss
D-
I choose you.
there you go.
They want to know.
DM me. I'm telling you, because I do read all my comments. I read messages. So y'all follow me. That's why I gave that little disclaimer in the beginning, so I wouldn't forget. Y'all
Hmm.
follow me at Marjane Music on IG. All right. You can follow my Marjane fan page on Facebook as well. It's Marjane Music, and it'll come up there. But I really want you on IG, because that way you guys can see, because the reels and stuff that I do on IG, I do not do them on Facebook.
Hmm.
So that family on IG, we kind of do that separately, but I do respond to my messages. Sometimes it may be a day or two before I get to you, because there's so much
Hmm.
stuff that I get in my inbox and stuff like that, and that's okay. I'll do respond, and it is me that's responding. Okay, so now when you send me a message, all right, if it's anything
Hmm.
inappropriate, I'm letting y'all know right now. You get blocked. You get blockety blocked. I don't play. I'm not dealing with no foolishness. All right. I'm
Okay.
just letting y'all know. Okay. I just want y'all to know. I have not I don't have a problem with blocking nobody. All right. So y'all know that. All right. But y'all follow me at Marjane Music. I really appreciate y'all. And thank you for having me on your show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I really appreciate you coming on. You really made me laugh. First of all, but I really believe in your movement, and like I said, I've listened to you on here. I've listened, to your YouTube content. I've looked at your bio, and you know, one thing that I can say is very consistent. You're very strong, and you're very um, steadfast in your convictions, and so I can truly respect that.
Thank
Um,
you.
and
Thank
I
you.
pray that you um, are blessed in everything that you do going forward.
Thank you so
Your music and everything, dealing with it. And everything that you come across that you may
much.
surprise yourself like how we
Yeah.
talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Um, with that being said, I mean,
Thank you, Mike. I'm so glad you had me on. I really appreciate it.
absolutely. Is there any last words that you wanna leave with the people?
Well, I just want to say this to any independent artist that's out there. When you guys don't get discouraged, all right? I want y'all to continue to stay steadfast. If you know that God has called you to do whatever it is that He has called you to do, you know, He works well when we move, all right?
Right.
God
Hmm.
works well when we move, all right? Faith without works is dead. So if you don't
Absolutely.
do anything, you can't see him manifest anything because you're not putting your feet to it. All
Come
right.
on.
So
Come
you got to
on. You better
touch it, you
talk
got to
about it.
walk it, you got to do all that, and then watch God do what he does best. And I'm
Hmm.
telling you, when you trust in him and allow him to be the captain of the ship, he gonna do exactly what he needs to do in your favor. So I encourage y'all to not give up. All right. And again, y'all follow me now, Marjane Music on y'all IG. I need y'all on the IG because my Facebook, I have a personal Facebook because that's where I started, and I'm almost at 5,000 on that, and then I'm almost at 2,500 on the fan page over there. So y'all come chill with your girl on IG because I'll be on there too.
Okay. That's what's
All right.
up. Well, I thank you again for coming on the show. I look forward to having you on very, very soon.
Thank you so
Because
much.
I still got a bunch of questions for you.
Yeah, you can have.
So
That's all right. Well, I'll come back on because again, I got some other stuff, some big stuff coming up this year. So I would love to
okay.
come back on. And you see, I can talk, so I can do stuff. I can do this all day
Okay.
long.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference and
Thank you. It
and
might
the
be
rest of your
over.
weekend.
I don't hear nothing.
I'm,
So we'll see.
hey, I'm sorry about taking you from
Well, I
that
did
too.
inform them though that I had to step away because I had a radio interview. I just didn't know how long it was going to be, but I did
Mhm.
inform them prior to getting here so that way I wouldn't, because I don't want to be rude. I think
Absolutely.
that I like to sit and partake and, get the same experiences that everybody else is getting while they're here. So I did inform them, yes. But yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Absolutely. All right. Well, you have a good weekend and a
Thank you
good everything.
too. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
All right.
right.
You have a good night.
All right. Bye bye.
What's going on, y'all? That was another great interview with Miss Marjane. You can check her out, Marjane Music. You can check her out on YouTube. Check out her page, Marjane Parks, or just Marjane, pronounced Marjane. Um, she's an independent artist. She has, her music is absolutely awesome and dope. She has a single out called "I Choose You," available on all platforms. So check that out. Um, Other than that, that's what it is. That's what it is right now. Um, Man, I still feel like being on here for a minute. Uh, who wants to come on with me, man? I got a lot of stuff uh that I wanna talk about. Who wants to? Is anybody want to come on? Feel free to come on, man. I send you the link to come on. I think I put it in the comment section. I think that's right. Um, Shout out to everybody who um consistently comes on the show or watches the show and checks us out. I really appreciate it. I know I probably say it a lot, but for real, because you could be doing a bunch of other things, but yet you are here hanging out with a brother named Mike. So I really, really, really appreciate that. Um, Other than that, again, man, I feel like I feel like the night is young, even though it's like 9 o'clock. But anyway, on that note, I hope everybody has a awesome weekend. We got Memorial Day on Monday. Um, don't eat too much barbecue. Get in that gym. Stay in the gym. Don't get too relaxed. Wear your mask still. You know what I'm saying? I'm fully vaccinated, but I'm still wearing my mask wherever I go. Wear your mask and social distance to the best of your abilities because I know everybody is out. And I know it's probably hard now because, they opened up the door. They're starting to slowly but surely open up the gates to everything. So, we've been in the house for over a year. And now this is the first opportunity to really get out and do some stuff. But, be wise about it. Wear your mask, continue to wear your mask, continue to social distance, continue to be responsible, wash your hands, sanitizer, that whole thing. Um, like I said, I'm fully vaccinated. If that's something that you feel like you want to do, I definitely would, say, you recommend you do it. If you feel like you are open to getting vaccinated, I got the Moderna, and I have had, other than the first day, I felt a little bit not myself, but other than that, I've been feeling fine. I haven't really had no ill effects. If you feel like you want to do that, man, I would recommend that you do your research and ultimately, do what you feel led to do. If you don't, that's cool too. But still, please, adhere to, the guidelines that have been set forth. You know what I mean? Because we don't want to put people in a bad position based off of a decision that we've made, not to follow certain guidelines or whatever. But no judgment here, because I understand it wasn't an immediate decision for me to get vaccinated. Um, I had to check out and watch and see what the fallout was going to be, what type of side effects and everything was going to happen. And so I gave it a month or two to kind of like run its course with other people and just to see. And I, sat down and did what I had to do. But again, still continue to wear your mask and, you know, adhere social distance and all of that. Don't be all up on people breathing up. You shouldn't be doing that anyway, though, for real, for real. But try not to invade people's space like that. You know what I mean? Just do what you got to do. But on that note, I want to thank Miss Marjane again for coming on um, coming on the platform. I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. and I count it not a small thing. I really enjoy doing this. I really enjoy doing this for you guys as well. Um, I really enjoy, doing this for you guys as well. I thank everybody who's come up to me on the street and be like, "Hey, aren't you the Let's Take a Walk guy?" And they ask me about the platform and what it's all about. I really appreciate that. Gives me a chance to kind of like explain, the background of everything that we do. Um, and again, I enjoy it. It's very educational and therapeutic for me. Um, I get to learn, I get to laugh, I get to, uh, express my opinion against that of other people. We just kind of like iron sharpens iron things, you know. I really dig that. Um, I really dig the other platforms that are on, like um, Coffee and Conversations, Miss Ebony Capri. I hope I said that right. Um, conversa- uh, Kicking it with the Kellys, Arthur and Corinthians. I really appreciate. Um, I I really appreciate the support that they've given, and I really dig their platform. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm talking to one of my friends who might consider coming on right now, but yeah, kicking it with the Kellys. Um, E. Brocky McKnight with Whiskey and Kicks. That's also a very very dope platform. Um, and all the other ones that I may not have counted in my head off the top of my head right now. Counted to my head and not my heart. Uh, I charge it to my head and not my heart but I am truly a fan of anybody who is bold and brave enough to. Oh, I can't forget about my sister Nina Bruton. Um, Nina Bruton, We Be the Light on Instagram. That's also a very very dope platform. Um, that's a very very dope platform that I catch and that you should catch. It's on Instagram. It's called We Be the Light. She has on a bunch of dope guests, and sometimes it's just her just speaking her mind. Um, and that's very very it's very very interesting and educational to me, and I have fun watching it. But I encourage anybody to, if that's something that, and not just podcasting, but that's it, with anything that you aspire to do, especially now, um, in this season. Um, be bold, what I'm saying? Be courageous, step out and do, whatever it is that you feel in your heart that you are led to do. You know what I mean? Because if I've learned one thing, if I more than anything, is that tomorrow is not promised, and so we each have an opportunity to make our mark on, you know, and on we each have an opportunity to make our mark in our current state, in our respective environments. You know what I mean? Like, you have the opportunity to do something that'll speak long after you're gone. You know what I'm saying? It'll be something that affects people, impacts people, inspires people, and empowers and encourages them. That's super 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 dope. Um, Doing this platform, I am not a good talker, but I'm learning to be a better talker just by virtue of doing this podcast, it kind of forces you to speak. It kind of forces you to research and read so that you're not may, all that. So it definitely is impactful for me, and again, I learn a lot, and just simply it's fun, and so I just I look forward each week to speaking to people about everything that they're doing, how they're impacting their communities and the culture and all that. So I look forward to it every week. It's always fresh and new. I'm always excited. I always, you know, wondering, well, what's going to happen, what's going to be said, what's going to be expressed, who's going to be reached by it, who's going to be fed by it, who's going to be enriched and blessed by it. You know what I'm saying? It's very exciting to me. But that's what it is, man. Again, I thank y'all for coming on. Let's take a walk. Uh, I'm waiting on somebody to come on to see if my friend is going to come on. She said she might be able to, so we're gonna see. I just feel like I just feel like chopping it up, y'all. I hope that's okay with y'all or whatever. I hope I know y'all. We like I said. Did you hit Did you hit the link that I put in your DM, Alexandria? I see your comment, but did you hit? You gotta hit the link to come in. Like it's kind of like Zoom. So when you come in, it'll bring you into the studio. It should bring you into the studio if you hit the link. But oh, there it is. What's up? What's going on?
Hey, it's been a long time. How are you?
I'm good. Everybody, I'm on my podcast right now. Let's take a walk. This is my friend right here. This is my this is my friend, right? This is my sister right here.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a friend, a minister, a just a she's just a iconic figure to me. Like she's an inspiration. She's a sister. She's a friend. She's just cool to the nth degree. Um, this is my friend Miss Alexandria. What is your married name?
My married name is Jacobson.
Okay, so I know her as Alexandria
Hmm.
Roberson, but she is
Yeah,
now Alexandria Jacobson,
Jacobson. Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So what's going on? I mean, I just got finished doing an interview,
Okay.
but I still felt like chopping it up some more.
Sir,
So if you know, I appreciate you coming on and indulging me on this.
certainly.
How have you been?
Things have been good. Getting back into, I don't won't say the swing of things because I don't believe things with COVID will ever really go back to being normal or the same as it
Mhm.
was, but just trying to get settled in the new norm because things are opening up more and things are at our disposal a little bit more now than what they were this time last year. So just trying to get
Mhm.
acclimated with change. Change is inevitable and the world is ever evolving. So just trying to always adjust to what's going on around me. So that's what's happening.
Wow. And Is it okay for me to say um the
What
what you have overcome?
Yeah, sure, certainly, certainly,
Okay.
certainly.
Miss Alexandria is a COVID-19 survivor.
I am.
Um, Actually, you are one of the first people that I know, like that I know personally, that that was impacted by COVID. Can
Yeah.
you talk a little bit about that?
Oh my gosh, it was this time last year, as a matter of fact, that I was coming through
Mhm.
the worst part of COVID. I remember it literally like it was yesterday. I think I'll never forget this as long as I live. But I was always very careful. You know, I was a frontline worker, so I did not have the luxury of working from home. I had to go into the office every day. I still had clients that I had to see, and so but I was very limited in where I went and what I did. I went to work, I came home. Whenever my husband and I needed groceries, we would go get the groceries and we would come straight home, wash my hands and my face. And whenever I came into the house, I would spray myself down with Lysol, you know, crazy stuff like that, taking the shoes off and
Mhm.
taking my clothes off. Now, you know, so because I did not want to get sick. A lot of people have their views about COVID, whether it was real, whether it was that serious. I didn't know. I want to find out. So I was very, very
Right.
cautious of what I did. And but one Tuesday, it was Tuesday, I was in group with my clients, and I remember I had a scratchiness in my throat, and I kept you know, clearing my throat, and I was like, there's just something in my throat, I can't get this out of my throat. And so that was that morning, and by that afternoon I had gotten a headache and I just started feeling bad, and I had several groups left that I had to do for the remainder of the day. And I remember I called my boss, and I was like, you know, Miss Sherry, I said, I don't think I can finish work today because I'm just starting to feel bad. And so she just went, she was like, do you think it's COVID? Do you think it's it was like, is it
Right.
COVID? And I was like, no, it can't be COVID. I haven't been, you know, I go to groups, we have to wear a mask, everything is virtual. I was like, no, I don't, it can't be COVID. And so she said, well, take the rest of the day off. And she said, and let me know how you feel tomorrow. And I said, okay. Struggled through the night, coughing. And the cough literally came out of nowhere. And I just felt just so fatigued, and I just felt just awful. And immediately I remember the last time that I ate was Monday, the previous day, because Tuesday I started getting that whatever it was in my throat, and I just didn't have an appetite. Still didn't think anything of it.
Mhm.
Come Wednesday morning, I was just to pieces, and so I called her, and I said, Miss Sherry, I don't know what it is. I'm sick. I can't do groups today. And she said, okay, well, just keep me abreast. So the rest of the day, I literally could not lift my head out of the bed. I couldn't lift my head up. I could not breathe. Had not eaten. I didn't want to drink anything. And so in my mind, I said, well, this is just a horrible cold, because surely I don't have COVID. I haven't been around anybody. Very, like I said, was
Right.
very, very cautious, did everything that I was supposed to do. So then I just kept getting sicker. It was just getting worse and worse. And so finally, my husband was like, I think we need to take you to the patient first. Let's get you checked out. And I said, okay. So he took me to patient first. And I remember walking from the car to the front door. Literally, I almost passed out because I couldn't breathe. And I just felt so bad. So I got in there and they took my temperature. My temperature was 103. I didn't know I even had a
Wow.
temperature. Feel like I had a temperature, you
Mm.
know, I just felt bad. And it was like, well, you have 100, let's give you some Tylenol. They did an x-ray. They was like, well, your lungs aren't congested, so we don't really think it's COVID. But just to be sure, let's get you an appointment for tomorrow to go get tested. And so I said, okay. So that was Wednesday. So Thursday, no, that was Thursday. I went into the doctor. So Friday morning, I had my COVID test. I still felt bad. It was just a horrible feeling. And so they said within 3 days, you know, you'll get a phone call or whether or not if it's positive or negative. I said, sure, no problem. And so went back home, laid down that day, that afternoon. they called me and they said, Miss Robertson, we're sorry to report to you, but your test came back positive for COVID-19. And like I
Wow.
literally felt like it was like almost like a death sentence, because all I was looking at was the news and how many people were dying every single day. And so
Mhm.
that began my moment of just trying to survive. I would not sleep during the night because I was afraid that I was going to die. I literally could not breathe. I was on a nebulizer. I was on my inhaler. Now the nebulizer you're supposed to take every 4 hours. I couldn't breathe so much. I took it every hour. That's how bad I just had
Mm.
no air, no oxygen. I couldn't eat. I went 2 weeks straight and did not eat food. I didn't drink nothing,
Wow.
and I couldn't keep anything down. It took me literally, and this is no exaggeration, 2.5 hours to get up from my bed to my bathroom just to take a shower. Like two and a half, it was a 2.5 hour process to take a shower. And so I didn't sleep during the night. I didn't sleep during the day. I literally was up just hours. I would watch the sun come up because I was looking out at the window. I would watch the sun go down. My husband moved out of the room into a spare room, the spare room we have in our home, because I didn't want him to get sick. And thankfully, God kept him and he didn't get the virus. But, so for that entire time, I was alone. There was no one to talk to. There was no one. It was me and Jesus. That was it. That was it. And so
Mm.
peak, I was getting worse and worse. And so I started hallucinating. Literally, those that know, if you know me, my father passed away in 2019. And so I literally was seeing my father and I was having conversations with my father. And so when I would come to myself, I was like, I am sick. And they always have this thing, old people say that when they start seeing their dead loved ones, it means that they're about to die too. And so
Right,
I
right.
was scared to death because I was like, I'm seeing my dad. I'm about to die. And so I remember telling my husband, I said, babe, I need you to take me to the hospital. And so he took me to the hospital. I couldn't breathe. And he was just holding my hand. And I love him so much because it didn't matter that I had COVID-19. It didn't matter that he could have gotten it. He got me in the car, drove me all the way to the hospital so that I could be seen. And so I remember they had to come get me halfway from the car because I just couldn't breathe. I couldn't walk. And so they got me into the wheelchair and he followed them. At the door, they stopped him and they said, you can't come any further with her. We're going to take her. You
Mm.
have to stay outside. And so he said, but this is my wife. He said, she's sick. I need to be with her. And they said, we're sorry. You can't come in. I've never seen my
Mhm.
husband cry the way he did. My husband literally broke down crying because in our minds, we didn't know if that was going to be the last time we were going to see each other. And I remember
Mhm.
telling him, I said, babe, this is where my life insurance policies are. If anything happens, this is what I want you to. And he was just crying. I wanted to cry, but I couldn't breathe. I'm
Wow.
tell him where things are so that if anything happened, he would know what to do, where to go. It would be no issue. And so after I, was telling him and he was just crying, he hugged me, I kissed him and he left. And I didn't see my husband again for another week. They admitted me into the hospital. And immediately, my temperature when I got there was 104. My oxygen level was like in the 80s. My blood pressure was down in the 70s. And so they began to get a whole bunch of people. Doctors were just flying in, and they started saying, well, do you think we need to put her on the ventilator? And I had enough strength, and I said, you're not going to put me on the ventilator. I said, if I die, I'm going to die alert and awake. You're not going to put me on the ventilator. And so they're just looking at me and they're trying to figure out what to do. I began to pray. That's the only thing I know, in times like those, like that. I said, God, if you don't heal me, I'm not going to make it out of this hospital. And so they sent me to the COVID unit. They admitted me. I stayed there for 5.5 days, maybe 6 days. And every day that I was there, they never put me on the ventilator. They never put me on oxygen. The doctors came in and he did an x-ray. Every day they did x-rays on my lungs. And he said, your lungs look exactly the same as the COVID patients that I'm sending to ICU to get put on the ventilator. He said, but for some reason, your oxygen level is improving every single day. And so it was the miraculous hand of God that allowed me to live through
Mm.
that moment. When I got there, I had double pneumonia in my lungs, and it just, I'm just grateful to God because so many people died with what I had and in the state that I was in. And so God, he is a keeper. The Lord is a healer. And so I live to tell the story. And so I'm so grateful today. I truly, truly, truly am grateful because I've had friends that died. We buried church members, that died, that did not make it
Mm.
out of. And so I'm just grateful. I truly
Wow. Wow. So, needless to say, has this changed? How has it changed you,
am.
if
So
at all?
yeah. So before I was always so um focused on the details of things. And if things didn't go the way I wanted it to go, I would be so irritated and so aggravated. But when I realized that my life literally was only a vapor, and it was a vapor that almost went out, they don't bother me the way they used to. And I enjoy life.
Mm.
And I live life, and I love so much, and I forgive instantly because I'm like, I could have been here today and gone the next day. And so I'm like, life is not all about the details. It's not always about it going perfectly. It's about you being able to make it through the day, make it to see tomorrow, make it to see your loved ones again. And so I just have a new view on life. I love a lot deeper. I love a lot more. I forgive much quicker. I could hold a grudge. I could be upset for days, not realizing that the person that
Hmm.
I'm upset with could die in the midst of me being angry. And nothing like that is worth it. Nothing is worth it. I didn't know if I was going
Right.
to see my husband again. And we hadn't even been married a year and a half, and I didn't know if he was about to
Mm.
become a widow. And that was just the most devastating thing to me. I didn't know if I was going to live to see my mother again, if I was going to live to see my niece and my nephew. So when you don't know what life is going to, when life is going to go, it's like the life that you have, you make the best of it. Be the best person, be the best Christian that you can be, the best husband, the best wife, the best child, the best friend. Be the best, because you literally have no clue when that last breath is going to be taken.
Wow. 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 So during that time, it was a lot of things going on. We're talking about a pandemic. We're talking about racial injustice. We're talking
Yeah.
about all types of government issues, even
Mhm.
up till recently, with the Capitol, overthrow.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, has that affected you at all? Has that affected how you've, you know, moved, has that affected your process at all? Just
It
the,
has.
just in particular, the racial injustice work.
Right. It has. And it's made me to want to understand people a lot more, and to show grace a lot more, because if this year has been nothing, it's been filled with people who are ignorant, who are just pure ignorant.
Mm.
And the level of ignorance will cause you to want to come out of character. But it's like, in my mind, I'm like, these people, they just don't know, or their minds have been infiltrated by lies, deception, manipulation. And a lot of them is really that verse where Jesus was, when he was dying, and he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And it's like they are part of something is killing they were killing our Savior, and where they were in on it, they were a part of it, but did not fully know what they were a part of, what they were agreeing to. And so this has caused me to recognize ignorance, but also to want to teach, to want to show more grace and to be more understanding that some people, they're doing dumb things but really just don't know. They don't have a clue of the bigger picture. They don't have a clue of the effects that they are putting and placing on other people. And so it's easy to want to kill people. It's easy to just want to say, let me knock their teeth out. It's easy. However, it takes more to say, let me have grace. Let me extend my hand of mercy. Let me understand that they just don't know. They are truly ignorant. And when you are ignorant in a matter, you will act irrationally. You don't do things that make sense when you're unlearned. And so we're dealing with a climate and an environment and a society of unlearned people, or people who have learned things that are completely wrong, and they have no way of unlearning and then relearning the right things. So with these people, I try to show grace towards them. I don't condone ignorance. I don't condone stupidity, but I don't want to cast them into hell either, because they're people too.
Right.
So
Right.
it's just caused me to be able to put people in categories. The known, the ones that know, the ones that know better and don't do better, the ones that really truly don't know, the ones that were from childhood were taught to do the wrong thing, so it's just changed my mindset about everything. It really has.
Wow. Wow. You just really said a mouthful right now.
Yeah.
Um, I I tell people all the time, like, especially during this time, it has really challenged me in the sense of being like, I have two sons, you know what I'm saying? I have a
Mhm.
grown son and I have a young son, 2 years old. And so it's always interesting because of course, I have to deal with them on different levels, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's hard to it's hard to give them information when, like you said, like you brought up an interesting point through your whole COVID experience. You were going through it, but you were watching, the news, and you're seeing
Hmm.
people, you know, succumbing to it left and
Right.
right. So it's like that kind of gets into your mind, and you
Yeah.
feel like, what I'm saying, could this happen to me? And that's the same
Yeah.
thing like with my sons, what I'm saying? I'm telling them, be respectful, be,
Yeah.
wise in your movements or whatever. But then you look over at the TV and you're seeing people getting snuffed out even after being respectful, even after
Yeah.
following the directions.
Yeah.
You see a person being sat on for 8 or 9 minutes, what I'm saying, with somebody's knee on their neck. You know what I mean? It's like, how do you how do you keep a level head? How do
Yeah.
you give sound counseling? How do you find peace?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How do you find peace within yourself? Um, I
I think.
always, when I speak to ministers, go ahead, go ahead.
Um, I'm sorry. I think we're, because you're right. You have people that are minding their own business that are dying. People that are taking jogs in neighborhoods that are being killed. And so it's such a confuse, because all along, all our lives, because we're African Americans, we're taught to, when if you get pulled over, you put your hands on the wheel, you don't move unless they tell you to move. And even when you're doing the right thing, you're obliging, you are following instructions or directions, people still aren't making it out of those circumstances. And it can be very just mind boggling. It can be just like, well, what do I do? What do I do? And I think, I don't have children, but I always talk to my nephew and my niece, and I tell them, it's our responsibility to teach them the right thing. to do what is right. And then after you've done what is right, it is imperative that prayer, we cover them in prayer. We teach them to pray, because when we've done all we can, we're to stand. Because because even when we do everything that we're supposed to do, it doesn't always mean that the outcome is going to be the way we want it to be. So when we've done all we can, I have to stand in the spirit of God, stand in the anointing of God to cover me, so that if I'm ever in this situation, if my nephews, my sons, my daughters, my uncles, whomever is ever in this situation after doing what is right, that they will still make it home to their loved ones. And so it is, we have to, and that's why prayer, I'll never deviate from prayer. All right, because you can teach them the right thing, do the right thing, and it still not go the way it's supposed to go. And so when things go to the left, I have to believe that prayer is going to be there to bring it back into the right place that it's supposed to be. So I teach prayer. I live by prayer. My life is prayer. And so I have to believe that after I've done the right thing, that my prayer, and that God is going to step in and he's going to intervene in those moments when the right still goes wrong. So that's where I am, because it's the truth. You can do the right thing or not be doing anything at all, and people are still losing their lives. So I the only thing that I have is my relationship with God, to say, God, I did what was right. Now I need you to come in and make sure I make it back home and live to see another day.
Wow. Like when I particularly talk to ministry people who are in ministry, pastors, ministers, that type of thing, particularly when we're talking about this subject, I always ask, like, how important is it for you, when in terms of addressing the congregation, the people that you serve, how
Yeah.
important is it for you, if at all, is it important for you to express how you feel in addition to what God is downloading in you? Like is it important for you to tell your congregation, hey, I'm mad too?
Yeah.
It's under, is it important for you to say, hey, I'm frightened too. This is unnerving to me. Like how 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 open should should you be about how you feel personally when it comes to talking to addressing the people, because they're in varying stages of
Right.
fear, doubt,
Right.
whatever.
So I think that the congregation needs to know that their leaders are people too, that we have fears too, we have anger too.
Mhm,
Jesus was the leader of his disciples, and when they saw him flip tables when he was angry about how they had made
mhm,
the house of God a place of thieves and a marketplace. It was supposed to be called the house of prayer. So he was angry. He showed that anger when he was bringing speaking against social injustice against the Pharisees and the Sadducees. It was openly done. We know this because it's written in the Bible, meaning someone had to have observed what took place in order to write the
mhm,
scribe to say this is what happened. So I think it's imperative that the congregation sees us and our hearts. We shouldn't always just come with a message and not be human, and people see that we know what's going on within our society. We are affected by what's going on in our society, and be able to speak on it. I think when it comes to talking about these things, that there has to be a balance, because at the end of the day, preachers are supposed to preach Jesus. That's it. Not my personal opinion, because my personal
mhm,
opinion can say I agree with abortion. That's not what I should be preaching in the
mhm,
pulpit, though. it may be my personal opinion. My personal opinion may be I believe in, I don't know, the death penalty. That may be my personal opinion, but that's not something that I should preach in the pulpit. So we have to be able to
Mhm.
keep the main thing, the main thing. The main thing is to keep Jesus at the center of it all. However, we can use the instances of Jesus. Jesus was against social injustice. Jesus was against hypocrisy. Jesus was against not doing for the widow, not doing for the orphan, not being a help within our community. Jesus spoke out against it. So I think using things in its proper context, we should be able to relate with the congregation who has a broken heart,
Mhm.
who has who has doubt in their minds. Will my sons grow up to see me get old? Will my sons make it to 25 or 30? So we have to be able to relate with our congregation, but at the same time, keep the main thing, which is at the end of the day, grab hope to Jesus and don't let him go.
Wow. Wow. Listen, you are you are really speaking tonight. Listen, I'm going to change put it on a lighter note. Um,
Okay.
this is a question. This is a question that I'm dying to ask.
Okay.
As a minister, as a
Yes.
pastor, as a servant to the people,
Yeah.
how important is it to have a sense of humor for
Listen,
you as a minister?
though, because when I'm having to do the work of the Lord, people will think I lack, I don't smile, I don't laugh. But those that really know me and they are around me know that I love to
Mhm,
cut up. I cut up. And I think, who we are is a reflection of God. So when I laugh and when
mhm,
I joke, it's because my father has a sense of humor. He likes to laugh. He likes to joke. I believe, and
right.
I think everything is within context. And now for me, I can't stand a preacher who's always joking in the pulpit. If you're supposed to be preaching, stop laughing about everything. Stop joking about everything.
Mhm,
And pastor, it's like every
right.
5 minutes he's telling a joke. And I'm like, I can't take you
Right.
serious because you're trying to preach, but you're
Right.
joking. He's nervous or something. He don't know how to just preach and go sit down. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
But I think it's
right. Right.
important. Sense of humor, lighten up. God is good. And we have to be able to laugh. The world is too horrible most times for me to not be able to look at things and find humor in it. Laugh at it. Laugh at myself sometimes when I do stupid stuff or crazy things, stuff that just doesn't make sense. So I think it's very, very important.
Mhm,
It lightens the load, because whether people believe it or not, if you've never pastored, if you've never had to be a leader, you come across things that you don't even want to go home and tell your spouse, this is what has happened,
mhm,
this is who came to me with this issue, with this burden. So if you don't find things to laugh about, it the issues will alone will drive you plumb crazy. So I think it's important to be able to relax and laugh. I think it's important.
wow. That's a question that I absolutely like love to hear the answers from,
Yeah.
particularly from ministry or any or not even just ministers, but just people who are given the charge of leading. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Because you see so many things up close that the regular lay member or the regular
Yeah.
subordinate doesn't get to see. And
Yeah.
so you deal with a whole lot of things, and I think it's a challenge to not bring it home night after
Hmm.
night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you, like you
Yeah.
said, you have to find that that lightness to be able to
Yeah.
kind of like push it off to the side
Yeah.
for a minute. You know what I mean? That's
Certainly.
very, 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 very awesome. Um, what would you say in your experience has been the most common misconception people have about you?
Um, I'm very, very quiet. I don't talk a lot. Can you tell? I don't know. I'm talking a lot tonight. It's because you're asking
Yeah.
me. On a regular, I don't talk a lot. And so that has always, for people, I'm very shy. So I'm not a social person. I'm an introvert. So I'm not always laughing, or I'm not always, going to people talking. And so I've always been told that they always thought that I was stuck up because I don't
Hmm.
talk a lot. Or when people do come and talk to me, I'm very, hey, how are you? I'm never, talkative and whatever, whatever. So people have always said they thought I was stuck up until, they got to meet me, and I'm really not. I'm very, very down to earth. I'm very approachable, very open. And so I would say that's the biggest misconception. And people don't believe that I laugh, because and I
Mm.
understand that, because when they see me in the pulpit or doing the work of the Lord, I'm very straight faced. I'm very serious. Like, I don't kid around. I don't play, because I think
Right.
it's a very serious matter for me that the Lord chose me to carry out this task. So it's not a laughing matter to
Hmm.
me. So most people only see me when I'm in church. So it's like when I'm out of church, okay, it's like I'm still a serious person, but I love to laugh. I love to have a good time. So people don't really see that side of me, the outside of church side of me.
Wow. Okay, well, on the flip side of that, and I promise you, I'm winding it up because I know you busy or whatever. Um, what will people be surprised to know about you?
What would people be surprised to know? That honestly, I don't like being in front of people. People see me preach
Mm.
and they hear me sing, and girl, but you don't know the anxiety that I really go through, having to stand up and do whatever I have to do in front of people. I hate it, like, hate it with a purple passion. And so, but it's like, it's a strength. Like, seriously, it is a strength that comes on me when I finally do stand up. And it's like, I do what I have to do. And once I sit down, I'm embarrassed again. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I'm ready to just run out and just go home. But I really am. So people, the Lord gives me, that's why I'm so dependent on Him. I don't understand people who just, I can do this, I'm going to do this. I'm so dependent on God. And I'm like, Lord, if you don't come, I'm going to pass right out in front of all these people, because I don't like being in front of people. I'm serious. Serious.
Okay. This is the last question right
All
here.
right.
This is
All
the
right.
last official question. What would have to happen in your life if it hasn't happened already for you to consider your life a success? What is success to you specifically? What does that mean to you or for you?
Um, for me, success for me is being in a place where I can take care of my mom without issue. Some
Hmm.
people look at degrees. They got to have doctor on in front of their name. They have to have the high paying job, and that's all well and fine. I have degrees. I have a very well paying job. But my place of success is being able to take care of my mother, give her whatever she wants, pay her mortgage, pay whatever. If she wants to go on a vacation, I book the flight and I say go. That to me is success, because it's like the person that raised me, the person that sacrificed for me so that I could be okay and have a good life. I had a wonderful childhood, a wonderful adulthood. I never ever had to worry about if I would have a place to sleep. I never had worried about not having a meal to eat. Never. And I'm 36 now, and I still go to my mama's house and get a plate of food. I know if I don't ever have food, I can go to my mama's and I can go do grocery shopping in her refrigerator, her all of that. I can do
Okay.
that. And so, for me, it's to ensuring that the rest of her life is lived in joy. And so that's success for me. and I'm living and I'm working to make that happen. And that's my daily prayer. Is really, honestly, Lord, help me to be able to take care of my mom. Yeah.
Wow, that is awesome. I wanna thank you for coming on here just impromptu.
For letting me come.
I didn't know I didn't know why in the beginning, but I just felt after I did my interview with Miss Marjane, I didn't I just felt like there was more. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you coming on and being obedient
Thank
to the
you for
spirit to
letting
come
me
on.
have you. Thank you
Um,
for having me. I really appreciate it.
absolutely, absolutely. I can't believe that I haven't had you on sooner. I can't believe that, and I apologize for that. That's my fault. But again, I appreciate you.
Thank
Last thing, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, like had a question or needed some type of guidance or advice or whatever, how could they get in touch with you?
I'm on Facebook. My what is my name on Facebook? It's Alex. I need to change it because my husband is like, so you gonna change your last name anytime soon?
Nah.
Um, so so you can reach me on Facebook. My name on Facebook is Alexandria Divine Insight Robertson. Divine Insight is my line name of my sorority, not because I think my insight is divine. Okay, but that's my line. So it's Alexandria Divine Insight Robertson. You can reach me on Facebook Messenger. You can reach me by email, A Robertson, that's ROBERSON bsw@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. I would love to connect with you. I would love to pray with you. If there's anything that you may be facing, I don't have all the answers, but I know the one who knows everything. And we can go to God in prayer on your behalf. If you're facing anything, I have a chief apostle who is always in prayer. I'm always slipping her names. Apostle, pray for this person. Apostle, can you take a moment and just pray for this individual and their situation? Her name is the Chief Apostle Dr. Tina M. Price of Holy Ground Tabernacle Church of Deliverance, Shameful Flood, my leader, and always push people to her as she's pushing them to God. So yeah, you can reach me in any of those platforms, and I would love to speak with you, love to just talk to you about the Lord or anything. People contact me about going to school, how to go to school, what they need to do. So if I can help in any way, certainly I will.
Awesome, awesome. And I thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate you. And
Thank
I am
you.
going to make sure that
Okay.
you are on here
Okay.
as
Okay.
a official guest
All right.
in the
Sounds
very,
good.
very, very near future. I will have
Sounds
my people call your people and
good.
get you on. All right. I thank
Certainly.
you again for coming on. You have an awesome night and an awesome
Thank
weekend.
you. All right. You as
Love you,
well. My
sis.
love you too, dear.
All right. All right. That was just an impromptu thing. I thank Alexandria Lady, as she's known as, for coming on. She just really dropped some nuggets. I hope you guys got that. And if you came in the middle of it, please rewatch it. It'll be on YouTube, or you can watch it on my page or her page that she just brought out. Um, and again, man, I just thank y'all for coming out, man. I'll be on again tomorrow. We're going to be talking about financial literacy again. We're going to be talking to Miss Amanda Lusk and Mrs. Tarsha Gibbons about financial literacy and its importance in the community. I thank you guys again. I'll see y'all tomorrow at 6. All right, let's take a walk.